Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
You're listening to Dr. Emma and me on the Tudors Dynasty and Beyond podcast. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome back to the show. It's Thursday, so you know what that means. Time for Dr. Emma and me. And look who's back, Dr. Emma. Welcome back.
Guess who's back? Back again. And a friend. Yes, I'm back. How are you, Rebecca?
Oh, I am fantastic. It's a new year. I get to do my first episode of Dr. Emma and me with you. It is a new year. It's 2026. Can you believe it?
No, please don't. Because, I remember a time where I was thinking all the time, in 2000, I'll be 16. And now it's 2026. Please, Rebecca.
Wow.
Some time, and can we just go back to maybe 20? I don't know. What year would you go back to?
I don't know. You just made me feel really old because I remember thinking in 1998 I'll be 21.
Oh my goodness! Now everybody's gonna be like, dee.
Yeah.
Calculator. They're gonna know we're
ancient.
41 and
102.
102. She is talking about the time she lived, the Tudor times.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I know what happened, so that's why I am the most factual podcast.
I was there.
I was there.
So which wife were you, lady in waiting? Now confess.
Oh, which wife? That's a tough one.
There is a wrong answer. Come on.
I'm gonna have to say it probably would have been pretty fun to be Anne Boleyn's lady in waiting.
I knew you were gonna say that. Just to pick on me. I think Anne Boleyn is amazing. Let me use my tone that says that I'm saying the truth. She was amazing.
I don't believe you. I still heard the sarcasm in there.
Let me drink some water before I choke to death.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you're back and we get to do another historical Tinder together today.
Yes.
And I'm excited about this one. I feel like on the show lately, I've been talking a lot about marriages, which has been a lot of fun.
Which Tinder is a prequel to the marriage, isn't it?
In
terms of marriages and historical Tinder, I want to thank Amy McElroy and Peter Stoffel for coming to the show. After that timing, I was really, really tired. And so I was really stressed out too. I had to take some time off, but amazing job, guys. So maybe one day we can all come together and do an episode with them, because they did an amazing job, and it was a lot of fun for once to sit back and hear your own show. Wow, that was weird.
I bet.
I'm like, is that me with a sex change?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Dr. Peter said that.
Peter, that was really funny and a bit troubling at the same time. So, but overall, it was very funny. And that was two great episodes. And yes, marriages seem to be around all the time because we started historical Tinder, but also because what I study is foreign influences in England, and those come through usually through these marriages and the networks of people, not necessarily only from the place these women come from, but also with their connections. And in this case, in the case of Henry VIII, he was definitely someone to benefit from these networks, international networks of marriages, which he was involved in, because no guy used more Tinder in the 16th century than the tool Henry VIII, right, Rebecca?
That's right. I guess you just told everybody what the topic is today.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Then you don't tell me off for speaking for 10 minutes about the weather in Minnesota. I'm just going to jump right in. Everybody wants to hear about the topic today. And yes, it's about Henry VIII and his Tinder profile.
Yeah. This is going to be a fun topic, I think. I know you're going to have fun with it. I might just sit back and just I love it. Well,
my
who doesn't want to know about Henry VIII's Tinder profile and his amorous life and his he was a guy to definitely show a lot of emotion for being a 16th century monarch. You know what I mean? They were usually kind of different. Francis I was all like, women are horrible and things like that. And you have Charles V, who really loves his wife and has natural children. So has, as some people call them bastards. I don't like to call them that.
yeah.
But has natural children too. But Henry VIII is definitely one to like fall in love, and the letters to Anne Boleyn and the letters about Catherine and the way he fell in love with her when he was only a teenager. And he seems to fall in love over and over again. That's not very
Hmm.
normal for a 16th century monarch.
Do
16th
you
century monarch were more about politics. You know what I mean?
do you think Henry was a mama's boy?
Yes.
That's how I think of him too. I think
I
that's why he
think
was like that.
I think Arthur, his older brother, who was the one betrothed to Catherine originally and was the one who was going to be the following King of England, was very intelligent boy, very in his place, but tiny, not very chivalrous, not very big. No, and then came this rambunctious like boy, Henry, who was all of that, who was, big and tall and just very athletic. And yeah, I think Elizabeth probably had a more closer relationship to that one because and he was more of a boy in terms of what some people like and some people prefer. And I think Elizabeth of York was a very quiet woman, according to what the sources reveal us, but also a very gentle woman. I think she probably found Henry amusing.
Yeah,
Because he
probably.
did dance in Catherine and Arthur's wedding. He took off his jacket, he got on the table, he started dancing. So parties were his thing.
Yeah. He'd like to
Sometimes those
be
quiet moms, like those rambunctious
yeah.
boys who are, that's my boy, look at him on the table dancing off, at his brother's wedding.
Yeah. Henry was like always the child who was like, look at me, mom, look at me.
Middle child. Not gonna say anything about that too much because Rebecca knows all about that. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a firstborn.
Yeah.
I think people can pick on that quite often. Uh, but in Rebecca's case, you can talk more about that. What does it feel like to be the middle child? Do you think that Henry is the quintessential middle child?
Yeah, yeah, because when I think of middle children, I think of attention seeking and I think of instigating. And that was totally me. I was, always like I wanted to be on stage. I wanted people to notice me. And I also was the one who was quick to start trouble because,
Yeah,
you know,
that sounds like younger siblings too,
yeah, yeah,
because I think the problem for a firstborn is you're the second mom, especially if you're a daughter and you're the first daughter of the. I've talked about this before, but
yeah,
like this is just therapy at this point. When you are the firstborn and a daughter, you're the second mom. So the
Hmm.
starting the trouble is not something you want to do because it's going to be blamed on
You,
you.
yeah,
So I think that yes, and I think Henry was a carefree boy. He didn't have the weight of being the heir. He was the spare. Doesn't he remind you a bit of Harry?
yeah, he does actually.
But his name is Henry. You know that, right?
That's right. That's right.
Harry's name, Prince Harry,
Yeah,
who lives in the U.S., is actually, Prince Henry. That's
that's
his
right.
H, as his wife calls him. So yes, it's this, and his hair is the same color as Henry VIII's. He's tall, just like Henry
Yep.
VIII, and he's been in a party or two that got him into trouble. So
You could say that again.
he was
Yes.
in Vegas a couple times.
Mm,
He's definitely got that same profile.
yeah.
Yet, in Henry's case, it was different because Arthur dies. Arthur
Right.
dies after marrying Catherine of Aragon. Just a few months, they both get really sick in Ludlow with the sweating sickness or something similar. Arthur dies. Catherine is sick as sick can get. Isabel from Castile is so worried that writes quickly to Elizabeth of York Elizabeth of York sends a bed, a litter, one of these carriages to take Catherine home so she can be cured in the court. And then in 1503, she's betrothed to the new Prince of Wales, who is 13, who is about to come of age for marriage in the Catholic Church. Because they're still Catholics at this point, people. We want to remember that.
Yes.
And VIII was a Catholic when he was 13, 14, 15. When he became a king of England, he was a Catholic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he became betrothed to Catherine in 1503 in the Archivo General de Simancas in the National Archives in Spain, in Valladolid. They have that betrothal alliance, and it's actually illuminated. It's an illuminated version. It's beautiful.
Wow.
And it's got the coat of arms of England, and it's just a beautiful piece of evidence of that betrothal. But then there's a lot of trouble because why? Do you remember why there's a lot of trouble? Fernando doesn't send the money.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We come back to the money again.
We come back to Fernando being a cheapskate. Maybe this is what we should call Fernando Aragon. He was a cheapskate.
Yeah, yes. So, okay. So
the cheapskate Fernando Aragon doesn't send the money, and for years, Catherine and Henry are kind of like falling in love with each other, but not allowed to do much, obviously, before marriage. And he's still very young, but she's in her late teens and early 20s, so she's becoming a woman. She's an ambassadress. Henry's like, okay, I want my wife.
Yeah.
But Henry VII finally decides to tell Henry to denounce this marriage, saying that he hadn't chosen it freely, because he's negotiating with Crybaby to marry who? Margaret of Austria.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I feel like you're testing me, and it's been a long time since we've talked about this.
I'm just telling you because this is all the people we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
So in Henry VIII's Historical Tinder, everybody that we always talk about appears, not even related to Catherine of Aragon.
Right.
This is because this is the people who are involved in the League of Cambrai, in that big alliance against the King of France. Which, remember, in 1516, I think it is, that Louis XII dies, 1514, married to Mary Rose.
1515 he dies, yeah.
Yeah, and then Francis I, our favorite French monarch, the Frenchest guy ever to be French. He is.
I have so many names for him that I want to use, but I just can't use them.
Yeah. The French is French. The French is French actually becomes King of France. They're all intertwined, really, in Historical Tinder.
Yeah.
And Henry kind of dates a little bit Margaret of Austria. Imagine that for Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah. Her ex-sister-in-law.
Yeah. And then Henry VII, when Elizabeth of York dies, is like, well, Catherine, maybe you and I. And Catherine's like, Mom! Mom!
And Handsy Henry.
Isabel is like, old fool. Send her back home. She can be a nun, for that matter.
Yeah, right.
Catherine actually wants to be a nun. And then what happens finally is that Henry VIII starts to get old. He pretty much has Henry VIII as a prisoner, Prince Henry.
Yeah.
And for the last year, he's pretty sick, even though they've tried to find a wife for him. Juana was a candidate. Another Juana de Trastamara, actually.
Oh.
Catherine's cousin was also one of the people that Catherine tried to marry to Henry VII. But then he dies in 1509. And Henry becomes Henry VIII.
That's right.
And the first thing he does is says, on his last breath, my dad said, marry Catherine of Aragon.
Did he? Did he really? Or did Henry VIII
That's what Henry VIII said. So whether you believe him or not, he's got a track record of lying a lot. So
that's right.
I would say that if he didn't say it, he should have, because it was the smartest move he did.
Yeah,
He
it
just,
was.
it was the smartest thing he could do. It was the best thing he could do. It brought a lot of wealth, a lot of connections for years. Uh, an alliance with kingdoms that sent people, incredible people. For example, I'm thinking of Sebastian Cabot, who was a cartographer, who Fernando sent to Catherine, who painted maps of the places that Henry was going to conquer in France when the year that they tried to conquer, that Fernando conquered Navarre, 1512. On the first years of the reign of Henry and Catherine, Henry goes to fight in France a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all linked to that. It's because he marries Catherine of Aragon. If he would have married, I don't know, Anne Boleyn was a child then, but if he would have married someone else, that wouldn't have happened that way, you know? England wouldn't have been a court with a presence to compete with Francis in the field of cloth of gold. That's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so he dates Catherine for all this long time, even though there's a Margaret of Austria in there. But then, as soon as the honeymoon part of the marriage, and they have a couple of children that die, Henry starts to use Tinder again.
He re-downloads the app.
He's like, "What was this app I had in my scroll?"
Yeah. 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 So he's like, well, I'm back on the market. My wife doesn't really know I'm back on the market yet, but I am.
Oh, my wife has suspicions. She comes from a long line of cheaters. There's her dad, the cheapskate. Fernando Aragon was also a cheater and had many affairs and had natural children. Like I said, Charles V, they all did. It's just in the case. And Juana, remember Juana and Crybaby, the outbursts of Juana and the cutting one of her ladies in waiting's hair because she had slept with Philip.
Oh, I don't think have we talked about that story before?
No. Do you want to talk about it?
Oh,
Do you
well,
want
we
to
might
talk
as
about Juana? Juana wasn't crazy.
Yeah, we want to reiterate, we don't think she was crazy, but here's a story about her that might sound crazy.
Yeah, I think she was defined crazy, first of all. And then I think that she had, like many other monarchs from the Habsburgs, mental health issues that were mistreated because she was a woman more harshly than to men. Charles V retires because he's mentally incapable and he has mental health problems. There's many other Spanish monarchs that have recorded mental illness of staying in bed, not being men. They're never locked away in a dungeon. And you know what I mean? Like Fernando did and Philip did with Juana. I think it was because Philip mistreated her very severely that her issues became more relevant than in other cases. So that's my take on her. Yeah, was she crazy? Yes, she was very unstable mentally, but not to the point where I think she should have been in it. I think she could have ruled even with her issues.
Okay, you have to tell the story.
Well, the story goes that Philip was a very unfaithful husband, as it was. Even though when they met, he was right into her, and had a very intense romance when they started off. After some time, Philip also has a wandering eye and starts having sex with the ladies in waiting. And one of the times in Flanders, Juana gets so triggered by this that grabs the girl. She's a maiden. She's a young 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Of course. Juana's 18, maybe, Philip is they're all this age. And cuts her beautiful long hair. Yeah.
She's like,
that was depicted in one of the most famous films in 2001 by Vicente Arana. In Aranda, in Spanish, it was called Juana la Loca. And I think I posted something about it today, and Jeremiah answered. It's one of his favorite, Jeremiah is one of our listeners, one of his favorite movies. It's called something else in English, but that's definitely a movie where that scene where Juana cuts the hair of the maiden, it's intense. There's another very bad episode with her mother in Medina del Campo, where Isabel is like slapping Juana, and Juana is like slapping Isabel. It's like having a cat fight, basically. And nobody can believe that someone would dare to strike the Queen of Castile.
Right.
And the Queen of Castile is like, you little, and they're both like going at it. So Juana was intense for sure, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what did she have? She probably had a predisposition that, due to the intense pressure and the bad relationship with her husband, got really bad. But her son Charles V also had it. So it's about the treatment of people like that by others that is more telling than whatever she had
Yeah.
or whatever she suffered from, right?
So
But going
let's.
back to historical Tinder, she was not in Henry VIII's profile, Juana.
I was just gonna say he dodged a bullet with that one. He chose
But
the
they
right
met.
sister.
They met in 1506 when Juana and Crybaby were in the court of Henry VII, and Henry VII did like Juana and said, I'm gonna swipe. I'm gonna swipe because Fernando just poisoned Felipe. So, 5 minutes after they leave the court of Henry VII, Philip is dead.
Yeah.
And Henry VII is like, what about Juana?
Yeah.
Every time somebody dies, Henry VII wants to get married to the young widow. Ugh.
Oh, look.
Oh, Trastamara widow? Yes. Hit me up.
Sign me up.
Sign me up with those Trastamara girls.
Mark me down for a
They're
yes.
widows. They're 17. They're hot.
Yeah, yeah. What a good connection too. Okay,
Yeah.
so Henry VIII, he wouldn't
Henry VIII.
he wouldn't swipe on Juana.
So he wouldn't. He didn't. I think he was like, no, I prefer mine, right? I prefer my Catherine. But then when they're married for some time, he has a very notorious affair with the sister of the Duke of Buckingham. The same Duke of Buckingham that he kills later on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He can hold a grudge, that Henry.
I feel like that's such an interesting part of his story because years ago I did some reading on it to kind of figure out what the truth is. And it's one of those stories where you're like, well, he could, I can tell you already when I interrupt me. He could have had an affair with her, or it could have been William Compton who had an affair with her, or was William just sticking up for his buddy saying, no, it wasn't the king, it was me.
Rebecca, don't be naive. First of all, why does he kill the Duke of Buckingham is a real question here. Because the Duke of Buckingham has more right to the King of England, to be the King of England, than him, probably, in many ways and respects. And Henry was always not only the spare, but from a dynasty that was not very secure in the throne, very insecure, not a good lineage, really.
Yeah.
Very flimsy lineage, right? So the Duke of Buckingham is like this important guy. So Henry's like, you wait, you step one step out of the of the place, and you'll see what happens to you. So I think that's why. But with having an affair with his sister, I totally think he was having an affair with his sister, because the Duke goes to the king. He doesn't go to Andrew whatever or Compton or whatever. He goes to the king and he says, hey, what's up, you tool? I think that's the guy who gave him the tool name.
Okay, all right.
You king tool. And the other guy's like, how dare you? I am the king. If I want to sleep with your sister, you, as they say in other parts of England and the British Isles, keep your clagger shut. You know?
Yeah, I'm
Have
the
you
king.
ever heard that?
No, that's the first time for me.
It's very Irish.
I like it. I like these sayings.
So Henry was like, keep your clagger shut or be quiet. And then Catherine comes along and is like, she's one of my best friends. How could you do this to me? And he's like, woman. The guy comes, you come, be quiet, everyone. I do this. I do whatever I want.
Right.
The sooner you learn that, the better we're going to get along. And Catherine throws that fit and that fit alone until Anne Boleyn takes her jewels. Yeah. And then she calls herself a harlot, and she goes on a rant, and she loses it, and she goes a bit crazy. And I'm going to say this out loud. Catherine of Aragon died with severe mental health problems because of the abuse, because she was a prisoner, because she had to make her own food. She had mania because she thought everybody was going to poison her. Imagine living like that.
I
And then
can't.
finally probably being poisoned. By whom?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? It could be any number of
I
suspects.
think by Henry and Anne. I think there's something that they both wanted. And their son was going to be born, and it was time because this woman would just not die.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think both of them, agreed to poison her. And I think probably the guilt played a huge role in what happened afterwards so quickly. She has a miscarriage. He goes crazy
Yeah.
because we talk about Juana being crazy, but the real crazy monarch in the 16th century was Henry VIII.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we're looking at what 5 months later, Anne Boleyn was executed.
And we haven't even gone through that Tinder story because we know we've talked about it a million times.
Yeah.
The Anne Boleyn Henry VIII story, it's people love it, but I'm a bit tired of it. It's just so long, so cheesy. Because he's like, "You're my," so like it's like a soap opera.
Yeah. I want to
Not the
kiss you.
16th century ever like that. It's
Yeah.
only in this case.
I always think of him in the letters saying something about wanting to kiss her pretty little duckies or whatever. I'm like, blah.
Yeah, this
Imagine.
35-year-old dude writing about this 17-year-old girl. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so you bring up, I think her name was Anne Stafford. You brought
Yes.
up her, and then, Henry
Bessie
swiped.
Blunt.
Yeah,
Because
Bessie Blunt.
he definitely swiped her.
Yep.
Swiped her off her feet, off Tinder, made her a mom.
That's right. And then
And now
married her.
that was the nail that sealed the coffin for me, for Henry and Catherine's marriage. The fact that that boy lived
Yeah.
and lived for so long. If that boy would have not lived and Catherine's boys would have not lived, like Prince Henry didn't live, because Catherine and Henry, even though he was having these affairs, he was still obviously doing his marital duties because she gets pregnant over and over and over.
Yeah.
So a lot of the problem with Henry and his children not surviving could have been sexually transmitted infections that he was giving to all these women. Because these are the women that we know about. How many women, other women did he sleep with? People say, no, he was not like that. He was totally like that. He was always partying. He was always at court getting drunk. How do you think he got fat and like to be, he would be partying. The ambassadors say this. He was always partying. He didn't govern. It was Catherine and then Wolsey. He was just in a big old party.
Yeah, he was.
Doing whatever. He was like that. He was just one of those people who I can't blame him.
I think it's interesting because I've always been of the belief that it had something to do with his blood type, because they talk about the Cahill, whatever it is, that could have caused this to happen, and why his wives were only able to have one living child, except Catherine of Aragon is a little bit different there. But let's look at Mary Boleyn. I mean, he clearly slept with Mary Boleyn. We don't know.
Really? I want everybody to hear it was Rebecca Larson who said he clearly slept with Mary Boleyn.
He said,
what about the mom? What about the mom?
No. He said the daughter, but never the mother. So
why wouldn't he have slept with the mom though?
Oh, come on. She's too old.
Do you think there weren't any milfs in the 16th century? I think people died at 50. So if you had a good genetics at 45, maybe you were still hot.
Maybe. Who knows?
I think it's a bit far going as to the mom. That sounds like like taking it too far, like when Anne was accused of living with her brother.
Yes.
But clearly Mary got around because she slept with Francis and then she slept with Henry.
Right. And then she had two husbands.
And then she had when they say that Anne Boleyn, it was so pious, was she going against her king or something? Because to be honest with you, a woman that sleeps first with Francis the First of France and then with Henry VIII, and then you are the sister who ends up marrying the guy, and the guy who's married, by the way. How does that work with your piety? How do you marry the two?
I think of Mary Boleyn's parents, and they're like, "Oh, there's my daughter. So proud of her. Look at her.
Well, I
She
think that
does
was a
like
way to get ahead in the 16th century. She wasn't royalty.
no,
They were from the lower gentry. Certainly someone ascending through the ranks of diplomacy, Thomas
yeah,
Boleyn. Uh, I think they were political. They were very political in their ascent, and then that was a way to do it. If you had daughters, and the king wanted her, like the king
yeah,
wanted the Boleyns. I think also that these young women in the court of Henry and Catherine become very attractive because they go to the court of Margaret of Austria and then to the court of Claude of France, and they become very sexy because they're speaking French, they'd have French fashion, the French ways. The court of France was different. And
yes.
we've heard about what Francis would do. I mean, have you seen the pictures of his mistresses? They're all naked. So this is what Anne and I think the problem has been because they were trying to reconstruct her image as someone acceptable, not the seductress anymore. We have forgotten that she was really a seductress that seduced Henry VIII.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
really did, because Henry was married to Catherine of Aragon. She played no role in this.
right. Yeah, I mean it's
She was
true.
on Tinder. That's what I'm saying. She was on Tinder. She had her French gown on.
She was like sliding into his DMs. Does Tinder have DMs? I don't even
Yeah,
know.
and she was like, "Bonjour, mon roi," right?
And Henry was like, "Woo."
And Henry was like, and then she would, she hung out with the very cool poets and the very cool younger generation. So Henry has a midlife crisis. Let's not forget. And these are the younger people that are hot
Yeah,
and new. So it's also got to do with youth.
yeah,
Youth that Catherine doesn't have because she's slightly older than Henry in a time
yeah,
where, now 41, you can be very youngish.
yeah,
But back in the day, you weren't. So Catherine, when Henry decides to break his marriage, they're right at that age where
yeah,
he's still 35 and thinks he has a midlife crisis.
yeah. Okay, so we only have like 15 minutes left to talk about this
Oh, for all the
topic.
rest of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
so let's move forward to Jane Seymour because obviously she was on Tinder too.
Yes, and obviously Henry is like, well, Catherine, because this is pretty quick too.
Yeah.
Catherine Aragon dies. Henry has mortification ideas that this is his fault because he's poisoned her. He decides to execute Anne Boleyn.
Yeah, as one does.
But before he does that, he's opened his Tinder.
Yeah, he's
And
like,
he's like, who is named? Who not named because those are the next ones, but who has the same demeanor and the same education pattern as Catherine of Aragon with the same personality? And he decides to marry Jane Seymour. She gives him his long-wished male heir, but
yeah.
dies, obviously. So he has to get back on Tinder.
I picture Jane Seymour's profile on Tinder saying something like pious, loyal,
Yes.
you know.
Humble and loyal, like Catherine's.
Yeah, yeah,
Her in a picture of Catherine.
yeah. I think Jane Seymour's motto was to obey and serve or something
But
like that
listen
too.
to this. The miniature portrait of by the Horn Boots in the National Portrait Gallery of Catherine Aragon with an inscription that says Uxor, Uxor meaning wife of Henry VIII, that pairs with one of Henry VIII, one of the first miniature portraits ever to be painted in England, is the same model as the model in the portrait of Jane Seymour that Hans Holbein painted that is in the Kunsthistorisches Museum in Vienna. They're
Mm.
even wearing the same jewel on
Yeah.
their bodice that says the initials of Christ.
Yeah.
Those jewels, I found the same jewels were given by Margaret Beaufort to Henry VIII on her will. So these are dynastic jewels. So Jane Seymour is modeling herself after Catherine of Aragon, not after Anne Boleyn. Why? Because she's just been beheaded, right? And she's the next wife.
Yeah.
But she dies in childbirth. Why? Because she doesn't have the Spanish doctors that Catherine of Aragon had. The Spanish doctors were the ones who saved Catherine several times from death.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something that's been studied. And then Isabel of Castile too.
I've said before that I think there was more to it than her dying from childbed fever. Okay, let's just say this. She lived for 12 days after giving birth. Childbed fever happened quickly, like 5 days.
I'm not expert in this, so we would have to bring someone. We could talk about with an expert because 12 days is a long time. Yes, I'm not familiar with this, how long it takes, but definitely she dies, right?
Yes.
And that's when Henry definitely goes on his worst time and decides to this next two marriages are just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. In between there, though, I feel like everybody always talks about him being in mourning so long before he marries Anne of Cleves, but he had a lot of young women around him at that time.
Imagine all these Holbein pictures that survive, all these sketches. There's more women than men. These were done for Henry VIII.
Yeah.
And they're all gorgeous. Even the ugly ones are gorgeous because it's Holbein, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you think? Henry had those as his little booklet?
Yeah. All right.
Historical Tinder, Holbein edition.
I don't know. I'm thinking of it. I can't remember what her surname was, but Honor Lyle's daughter, Anne, like she had sent two daughters to court to serve in Jane Seymour's household. And her daughter, Anne, seemed to be a favorite of Henry VIII after Jane Seymour died. But for some reason.
So he starts to date the little girls. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
well,
Henry. But then he finally, after the fiasco with Catherine Howard, because she's a little girl, and the fiasco with Anne of Cleves because he doesn't like her, and that's when you start to say something's up with Henry.
Yeah, it's not the women.
Is something not working, Henry, and you're blaming it on the German woman?
Yeah, it's like when you meet a guy, let's say you're in the 21st century dating world and you meet a guy who's been married 4 times and he's still out there dating. You're like,
yeah. And then he doesn't like you, right? And you're the problem. And you're like, right. Sure.
I think you have some work to do, buddy, before you get married again.
And then you look at her picture in the Louvre and she's stunning.
She is stunning. Yeah.
So either Holbein is giving us misinformation, which I think is true. I think there's no one subject in Holbein that you like. It's an idealized version of a person, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We talked about this when I'll recommend it again. Alejandro Vergara Sharp's book, What is Quality in Art? He talks about verisimilitude, like the idea that Holbein is making you believe that's the way those people looked. But really, when you look at them, they all kind of look alike in a way, and they all you can tell they are idealized, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're not what those real people looked like in the time.
They were using a filter.
They were using a filter, further historical Tinder, because they were all in Henry VIII's profile. I wanted to say something about his Tinder. Did it ever have guys in it?
Oh, whoa. I feel like that was a bomb drop right there.
I'm just saying there was a lot of ambassadors up and down, and there's one that even says that he would have made a pretty woman. Henry liked to disguise a lot and he was very theatrical. So I'm just going to leave a door open. He had a very bromance relationship with Francis I. You know, I want to fight you can mean something else.
I think it's so hard to talk about sexuality in the 16th century because it was so taboo, right? It was against
Exactly.
religion. And so,
Not
and
like now, we're all like, whoa.
yeah, it was so different. Okay, so he swiped on Anne of Cleves and then deleted her from his profile. And
Okay.
I don't know
No
how.
guys in his profile, I guess. Only
No,
Catherine
we're gonna
first.
skip over that
I was gonna
time.
skip over that. I don't want to skip over that. It's just Rebecca. No, but Catherine Parr is Catherine of Aragon number 2. I'm sorry to say.
Number 3. Wouldn't you say Jane Seymour was
Nah, Jane Seymour was like a pale copy.
oh,
Not
wow.
really. Not in my book. She's not really.
Like a poor carbon copy.
No. Like a good person, nice woman. But in terms of her achievements, I have to say Catherine Parr is very impressive.
Yeah, she had more
She's got a
time.
humanist education. She's a daughter of Maud Parr. You can tell she's been raised just like Mary and Elizabeth, especially Mary. She's the most similar to Mary. Being Mary, the one that has the best education of them all. And the daughters of Margaret Roper, the daughters of
Thomas
Thomas
More.
More.
Yeah.
So, but she's part of that. She's part of that. Even though she's reformed and they tend to separate them, I believe, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that the book that she authored might have been a translation into English from an original written in Latin by Catherine of Aragon. I
That's
have
right.
evidence of that could be the case. Would that make less her achievement? No. Would it change the authorship? Yes.
Yes, for sure.
And if it changes the authorship, who knows? Maybe Catherine was a humanist, and Catherine of Aragon, we're talking now, in her own right. So, and these guys, Catherine Parr was translating stuff. So was Elizabeth. So was Mary. So it wouldn't be a weird thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that the name coincides, these 3 works attributed to Catherine of Aragon are given to us in a Franciscan source in Spanish from the 17th century. Guess what? It's not in the Tudor books. For some reason.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, can we go back? Because I feel like we just completely skipped over Catherine Howard because I've had this thought in my head about Catherine Howard's Tinder profile and how it's like, I like to
Was she allowed to
party.
have Catherine Howard? Was she allowed to have Tinder? She was not of age.
She had a secret phone. She,
Oh, she had a secret phone.
yeah,
Okay.
and she downloaded the app and made a
She had a
profile.
fake ID
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
had a secret phone and ugh.
And she was
Anyway.
like, I like to party and have a good time,
Yes, I'm
Swipe.
super mature. I have, 25 years of experience in Tinder, and I'm 26. No, she was something like 15. How old was she?
He was young.
Yeah. Like those my little jokes.
Yeah, so like, oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, so he's like, ooh, party guy, right? Because at this point he's already old and he's fat and he's gross, and he's like, ooh, this reminds me of my younger years.
Nothing wrong with being fat, but yes,
well,
being
no,
gross.
but like he's Henry VIII. We can talk about him in that disgusting way, right? And he's like, ooh, she's young and she likes to party and have fun. I'm swiping on her.
Right, but then as soon as you get married to Henry VIII, no more partying for you, little girl.
No, the party stops.
And she's like, and girls just want to have fun.
And he's like,
Not when you're married to me, little girl.
Yeah, he's like, you got one job only.
One job and one job only. But then at the same time, he can't even give her a chance.
Yeah.
Do you think she really did something with...
Seems
a bit far off for if you already know he's already decapitated one of his wives. I just think it's very odd.
Yeah,
I think it's very odd, even more odd than when with Anne Boleyn, because with Anne Boleyn he had a 10-year relationship. Yes. I can see someone cheating after 10 years of fighting and I hate you, Henry, but a 15-year-old girl that's been married to you for 5 minutes, it seems to me like it's like, what did we do last time? Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go
Let's
with
go with
that. Yeah, it's the whole Catherine Howard thing was Henry trying to recapture his youth, to feel young again. That to me is what that whole marriage was about, finding and
I
capturing
know.
his youth because he felt like he was getting old. Because in 1540, he was in his 50s already, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that shows that Henry VIII's historical Tinder, his profile, shows a typical narcissist's lifespan. You know, you start like being the center of attention, falling in love like no one else has fallen in love before, said to Ferdinand of Aragon, who was like, "You're annoying." Because he was annoying, because he was, I mean, I can relate to that. He was like, look at me, you know, look at
Yeah,
me, but also had a big wandering eye. So he struggled to keep relationships. And the women in his life, a bit like Juana, ended up like going a little bit crazy, to be honest,
yeah,
especially the first two. I think he did destroy mentally Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn, both of them. And that's in that they're both the same and equal, and they deserve equal credit for putting up with that guy, you know?
yeah. You
Jane
know,
Seymour, you know, he destroyed her body, but
yeah, yeah. I don't know
but
why.
that's more related to being a woman in the 16th century and the risks of pregnancy, which are huge,
Yeah.
huge.
I feel
Yeah.
like I'm fixating a lot on Tinder profiles today, but I think like Henry VIII at the beginning, right? When he's 18 and he's young. His
Who is the
pro
actor? Who is the actor Henry VIII at the beginning?
I feel like his profile would have said athletic, charming.
He's got a picture in a joust. He's got
Yeah, he
he's like
does.
sitting on his horse, looking down at you.
Yeah, and you're like, ooh, he's hot. And
It's
then
Henry
it's
Cavill. We know it's Henry
yeah,
Cavill.
okay, all right, all right. You had to bring up Henry Cavill. So I thought this was going to be the first episode where his name was not brought up.
Henry Cavill.
Anyway, as he gets older, then it comes time to like Catherine Parr, and his profile now says things like, I like to read and spend quality time together.
I like long walks in my
Right,
chaise lounge
right.
when they carry me.
And the picture of him is like a selfie from above, so you can't see
Yeah,
all of his double chins.
yeah. He's got his crown on, just so you. He's got all his chains on. Yep.
Yes, he does. Yeah,
Yep.
because now he has to rely on,
Oh,
filters and
he has a very interesting profile change when he grows that beard.
oh, okay, really? You
And
had
he
to
does that for his bro, for his male French lover, Francis the First.
his frenemy. They're frenemies.
No, no, no. No one grows a beard for a guy if you're not interested in the guy to see you with a beard. Come on.
I
That is shouting ancient Greece bromance. Come on.
I feel like
I think listeners are gonna agree with me.
I'm not qualified. First of all, I'm not a dude, so I don't know how
Oh
guys feel
well,
about
dudes have been judging us all our lifetimes,
that's
and
true.
we're not gonna judge a couple dudes who do things that could be classified as homosexual.
I know. This episode got a little
Please,
out of hand today.
I know I have a lot of homosexuals following me. Please, the gays, we need your
We do.
input on this.
We love you. We love
We
all
love you.
people. We love all people.
Yeah, of course. And it is easy to talk about sexuality when you're honest and when you're
Yeah.
respectful. And yes, of course, homosexuality existed in the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more of platonic kind of bromance. And I think Henry and Francis had a thing going on
Hmm.
where it was just a bromance, or it was more. I think Francis didn't care because he slept with all the Boleyns, and then probably with Henry too.
So that
That's the
wrestling,
guy
I was
who won
just
Tinder. That's the guy who won Tinder in the 16th century. So Charles V was the most important politically,
yeah,
but then Tinder, it was Francis,
clearly.
and Henry wins the craziest. Who is the craziest monarch? Why is he not known as Henry the Crazy?
Right.
He was crazy. Who
Yeah.
killed his wives by chopping off their heads? I think people in England tend to not realize how much he's seen outside of England as this tyrant that was just the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Because he was.